So WSTV News reports that a high school in Washington, D.C. actually reached the new high for graduation rates, which is 83.2%. Now that is great. That is wonderful. Now, one of the reports also mentioned that experts say that high school graduation rates are an important measure of school success and academic progress. But they also say not to put too much stock into them. Requirements for graduation rates vary. Now we can see that in our own communities, such as 2011 when we got rid of the cohort rate. When we implemented the cohort rate, so we assessed students, or we examined students who actually graduated within that 4-year time limit, rather than 6 years or 5 years or whatever. And then in 2015 we got rid of the graduation test. Now I see that in my own school, the graduation rate for 2014 was 63%, and the graduation rate for 2015 was 71%. Now we see that big increase as such a great deal. Yeah, it really is. It really is. But we also have to examine what actually went into place when we actually when those graduation rates, why they differ, basically. So there are several different aspects as to why the graduation rates increase. Several. But for the sake of this 3 to 4 minute project that I have, I'm only going to focus on 3. And one of them is early academic intervention.
Once I was 7 years old, my mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old. It was a big, big world, but we thought we were bigger, pushing each other to the limits. We were learning quicker. By 11, drinking, burning, never rich, so we were out to make that steady figure. Once I was 11 years old, my daddy told me, go get yourself a wife or you'll be lonely. Once I was 11 years old. I always had that dream like my daddy before me, so I started writing songs, I started writing stories. Something about that glory just always seemed to bore me, 'cause only those I really love will ever really know me. Once I was 20 years old, my story got told before the morning sun when life was lonely. Once I was 20 years old.
And from my observation, I did go to Harmony Leland Elementary School. Persuade her students is to actually motivate them to find their own interests and to work towards them. Check on the evidence of biological weathering, which is pretty cool. So these students could actually see hands-on what they were supposed to be doing. My main focuses was on self-discipline. So she conduct themselves in a certain way. So self-discipline is a major key to success. And I actually found a TED Talk that actually discusses this as well.
When the professor left the room, as soon as the door closed, 2 out of 3 ate the marshmallow. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 40 seconds, 50 seconds, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 8 minutes. Some lasted 14 and a half minutes. Couldn't do it. Could not wait. What's interesting is that 1 out of 3 would look at the marshmallow and go like this. Would look at it, put it back. They would walk around. They would play with their skirts and pants. That child already at 4 understood the most important principle for success, which is the ability to delay gratification. Self-discipline, the most important factor for success. 15 years later, 14, 15 years later, follow-up study. What did they find? They went to look for these kids who were now 18 and 19, and they found that 100% of the children that had not eaten the marshmallow were successful. They had good grades, they were doing wonderful, they were happy, they had their plans, they had good relationships with the teachers, students, they were doing fine. A great percentage of the kids that ate the marshmallow, they were in trouble. They did not make it to the university, they had bad grades, some of them dropped out, a few were still there with...
So, centrally, they work best. Second one is programs. Now, we can't always help students outside of the class, but we can help them in the class or in the school. Does it degrade the system, though?
No, it doesn't degrade the system. If anything, I think it's going to help the system, because if I'm somewhere that I don't want to be, or where learning is not what I'm looking for in that area, that'll degrade the system. So giving people that choice will help the system.
Okay. Do you believe programs here help low achieving students?
Yes, programs here does help low achieving students. We offer a multitude of programs. Move on when ready. Students that may not be able to actually afford college, but they're actually being able to take them while they're in high school right now at zero cost. So that really helps the students who can't afford school, but by the time they graduate from high school, they can actually have like an associate's degree, and therefore they'll just be able to have to pay for 2 years of college.
All of the programs here help low achieving students?
I would say so. Like I mentioned, the 2 grad point, what I do all day, every day, and then we have it after school, and then at the end of each semester, and in the summers we have course extension or credit repair, things of that nature, and it appears to help. So
Okay.
I believe in it.
All right. Are you from a different state?
I am born and raised in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, and Detroit does not have the best reputation for public school education system. So I'm not a product of public school education, though. I K through 12 for the most part I did. Well, first through 12th grade I did private education, Catholic school, but it was still in the inner city, in the hood. So I don't know how good it was.
And so did you have programs that help low achieving students in this private school?
I don't recall, to be honest. I've been out of high school a really long time. Well, I look like it, but I've been out of high school for a really long time. But in the Catholic school setting, I just don't remember any of those opportunities. It may have happened in the public schools back then, but I honestly don't recall it for Catholic schools. I think it might be now in Detroit.
Do you believe the programs here help low achieving students?
No. The programs here are not designed for low achieving students. They're primarily designed for students who are high performing students. We need programs, i.e. as vocational programs, to provide students the opportunity to get job ready skills. Coming from Mississippi, where I went to school at, students will offer vocational programs. You offer different tracks toward graduation. We don't offer those tracks here at Pebblebrook. We offer blended courses, which those blended courses, in my opinion, don't provide the students the opportunity to explore career opportunities, because every kid in the state of Georgia is not going to college. So we need to provide those students the resources to be successful in the workforce.
How do you think the Upward Bound or TRIO program helps students graduate from high school?
Well, TRIO program is servicing low-income students and students whose families do not hold a bachelor's degree. Many of those students as well may have disabilities, are homeless, or who are in foster care or will be aging out of the foster care system. And what the TRIO program tries to do is to bridge learning for students so that they progress on to the collegiate level, whether that's at a 2-year college or a 4-year institution. Now, some of the services that are provided are tutoring, instruction in subjects such as mathematics, laboratory sciences, and foreign language and composition. Furthermore, counseling is available to students. So, as they're facing different issues in their life, providing a perspective for them. But also, equally important is the economic and financial literacy of students, knowing how to balance money. Once you get into college, you're going to be on your own and you're going to receive, different financial aid, such as Pell Grant if a student's low income. You might get loans, preferably one that doesn't have a high APR rate. So giving students that financial literacy and the know-how in order to make it and have a good start on their first semester in college is what they try to do.
Okay.
And one additional part of it as well.
Yeah, and then alternative schools. So alternative schools, they give students a way to find their interest and work towards that goal. Not every student works the same, not every student learns the same, not every student has the same desires. So alternative school, of course, gives them the alternative to getting their high school diploma or GED. I believe Georgia is great for that. We have, let's find out for you. Okay, according to a public school review, Georgia offers 72 alternative schools, 33 high schools, 23 middle, 22 elementary, and 1 charter serving students. So if we have all of these alternative schools, and we also, and that's not including private, and I don't think this is including performing arts or magnet schools or any of that. So we do give you alternative types of schools to actually increase that graduation rate.
I teach for Fulton County Schools. I am an autism teacher, level 3, special education. I honestly feel that offering different ways to teach does not degrade the system. It actually helps the system. I think it helps improve the rate of high school graduation or students going on to graduate from high school and even going on to college. When you teach in different ways and you use different strategies, you learn your students, you learn their strengths, you learn their weaknesses, you learn their interests, you learn their likes, you learn what type of learner they are. And you can use that to kind of critique your curriculum and your lessons to bring in their interests, to make them want to continue to learn, make them want to stay in school naturally. You don't have to do much because you've already gained their interest. As long as you can get there, when you're teaching in different ways, using technology, project-based learning, personalized learning, it helps find students' interest, and it gives them the freedom to explore and to dig a little deeper into things that they like and what they do. And naturally they're gonna want to look for more things or learn more things. It's just a thing that happens when you not stick to just one thing. When you make it more broad, it gives the students an opportunity to explore new things, and once they're motivated and they feel like they're found something that they like, naturally they're gonna want to keep going.
All right. Might have to cut this one out. When I said the programs, you guys don't have is your job considered as a program, or since you're a resource, or what did you say, reference?
My position is technically considered a program. It's an autism program. It's a program that takes in students with autism. All of my students don't have autism. Some of my students have SDD or other disabilities, but they do. Most common is they are typically high functioning. They're able to do the general ed curriculum. They just have behavior problems or issues with communication and social skills.
Okay. So alternative schools typically provides a non-traditional education curriculum and falls outside of categories or regular special education or vocational education. And so these students can actually learn whatever job they're interested in, but at the same time it limits them to only that job. But it does increase our graduation rate. In conclusion, within my research of studies, I agree with the act of early academic intervention and promoting graduation by providing school programs. These techniques have proven to increase graduation rates in my community. And implementing programs such as AVID in Florida and my summer advisor in Mississippi and the TRIO program, but for high school students called Upward Bound, will all help students in middle school and beyond. And this will also help the graduation rates. Thank you.